Listen closely. Chosen one. This is not just another moment scrolling through your feed. This is divine timing. The message reaching you right now is confirmation that the season of waiting has come to its appointed end. Heaven has issued the command, it is time. You have endured long nights of silence, praying for signs, wondering if the promises spoken over your life were ever going to manifest. You've seen others move forward while you stood still, faithfully holding on to a word that seemed delayed. But what felt like a pause was actually divine preparation. For too long, it looked like doors were locked, opportunities slipped away, and prayers hung unanswered in the air. But hear this clearly, the stillness was never abandonment. It was alignment. God wasn't ignoring your cry. He was orchestrating something you could not see. The waiting refined you. The silence trained your spirit. The delay protected what was sacred. Every not yet you endured was actually heaven saying, I'm building the foundation for something greater. You were hidden for a reason. God covered you in obscurity, not to punish you, but to preserve you. Like a seed beneath the soil, your potential was growing in unseen places. Now the earth is shifting, and heaven is declaring, the soil can no longer contain what I planted in you. The waiting is over. The chains of delay are breaking. The fog is lifting. Doors that once refused to budge are about to open with ease, because the timing of God has collided with your readiness. You've matured through the waiting. You've prayed through the disappointment. You've stood when others walked away. And now that endurance has created divine momentum, the wind of favor is about to find your name again. This is the hour when what you've been praying for starts knocking at your door. Not in theory, not in imagination, but in reality. The very things that once seemed out of reach are now aligning in perfect sequence. Stay alert, chosen one. Heaven is calling you to recognize the shift. Everything that felt delayed is now being delivered. God says, behold, I set before you an open door, and no one can shut it. Because what's unfolding right now isn't coincidence, it's divine coordination. The same hand that kept you still is the one now turning the key. There's a holy echo moving through the atmosphere, and it carries your name upon it. You may not hear it with your ears, but your spirit feels the vibration of change. Something sacred has shifted in the unseen realm, and heaven has released the authorization for movement. Every delay, every locked door, every unanswered prayer was resting beneath this moment. God has been aligning hearts, opportunities, and timing like pieces of a heavenly puzzle. You thought you were waiting for Him, but He was also waiting for you. Waiting for your faith to mature, for your discernment to sharpen, for your character to anchor deeper than your ambition. When God speaks of opening new doors, He doesn't mean ordinary entryways. These are portals of destiny, assignments that connect to purpose, relationships that carry divine weight spaces designed to expand your influence for His glory. And in this new season, the doors will not open through striving, but through surrender. The same humility that kept you through the wilderness will be the key that unlocks your next chapter. Heaven's decree has gone forth, access granted. That's why the pressure intensified before the release. That's why things suddenly felt too quiet. It wasn't emptiness. It was God holding His breath before the unveiling. The Spirit of the Lord says, you have waited long enough. The time that was once withheld has now been redeemed. I am restoring lost years, lost energy, lost confidence. Where you were once overlooked, you will now be sought out. Where doors were shut in your face, I will cause them to swing wide with favor. Walk forward with reverence, not pride, for this opening is holy ground. Pause and receive that truth. This isn't a man-made opportunity. It's a divine invitation. You are being summoned into rooms you did not campaign for, into conversations you didn't initiate, into blessings you didn't chase. God is sending what belongs to you because He can finally trust you to carry it. There's an unmistakable rhythm to divine timing. It doesn't arrive early, and it never arrives late. It comes precisely when your soul can handle the weight of what's next. That's why the wait was necessary, to build capacity, not to inflict cruelty. And now, the divine clock has struck appointed time. The sound you hear is not coincidence, it's confirmation. The invisible hand of God is turning the handle. The door is about to move. Take a breath. Feel that release in your chest, the letting go of old tension, the exhale of long-carried hope. You don't have to push anymore. You only have to walk through. The moment has arrived when heaven's blueprint becomes visible on earth. What was once whispered in prayer is now being written in reality. You are stepping into a season where what you sensed will become what you see. The promises that lingered like distant dreams are now approaching as tangible evidence of God's faithfulness. For months, maybe even years, you've stood at the threshold of almost. Almost there, almost healed, almost seen, almost chosen. But the almosts are ending now. The door that once teased your faith has finally turned on its hinges, and the light from the other side is spilling through the cracks. This is not a small opening, it's an unveiling. Heaven has removed the covering that concealed your next chapter. You are about to witness divine connections, supernatural timing, and acceleration that defies logic. What took others 10 years will happen for you in 1. What once resisted your hands will now yield at a whisper. Because when God opens a door, no resistance can prevail. But this opening isn't just about access, it's about assignment. You're being ushered into new territory, not for comfort, but for purpose. You are the vessel through which God will demonstrate restoration. He is using your story as living prophecy, proof that His timing is perfect, His delays are divine, and His favor unstoppable. In this season, the doors represent more than opportunities. They symbolize transformation. The door to healing, the door to reconciliation, the door to creativity, to abundance, to spiritual authority. Each one leads to a dimension of your destiny that was prepared long before you were born. And now the Spirit says, enter in. But hear this, the doorway may not look grand at first. It may appear simple, even small. God often hides the extraordinary inside the ordinary. A conversation, an email, a sudden idea. That's how heaven introduces new beginnings. Don't dismiss the subtle. The divine often disguises itself as daily life. And when the doors begin to open, you'll know it's Him, because peace will confirm what logic can't explain. Circumstances will align in ways that no man could orchestrate. The right people will show up without striving. Provision will meet you at the gate. You'll feel a divine rhythm guiding your steps like invisible hands, directing your path. The prophecy is this: what you've been waiting for is now waiting for you. The roles have reversed. The blessings that once seemed delayed are now in pursuit. You are not chasing anymore. You're being found. The door you thought you missed, God never closed it. He preserved it. The opportunity you thought was gone. It was merely on hold until you were whole enough to handle it. And as you step through this open door, you'll notice something sacred. The air feels different. The heaviness that once clung to your spirit will lift. The weariness from years of waiting will dissolve. You'll sense clarity replacing confusion, joy returning where sorrow dwelled, and strength rising where exhaustion once ruled. This unveiling will not come quietly. Heaven is making an announcement through your breakthrough. Even those who doubted you will have to witness it. They won't understand how the shift happened so suddenly, But that's the essence of divine timing. What seems like overnight to others took years of unseen obedience in the secret place. Do not fear the new. You were designed for this. Every closed door taught you how to listen. Every delay built spiritual muscle. Every detour positioned you for direct alignment. Now as the gates open, you won't walk through with hesitation, you'll walk through with authority. God is saying, the wait has expired. The promise has matured. The path is clear. Step forward. You are not behind schedule. You are arriving on divine time. The prophecy is fulfilled not just around you, but within you. What once seemed distant is now at your doorstep. When heaven opens a door, it's not just about promotion, it's about revelation. Every divine opening reveals something about who God is and who you've become through the waiting. You see, the waiting wasn't wasted. It was working. It was the sacred classroom of your transformation. God allowed time to slow you down so that He could speed up what mattered most, your becoming. You learned to pray from your spirit and not from panic. You learned that faith isn't measured by how fast something happens, but by how long you can trust when nothing does. You learned to release control and let divine order lead. And now, because of that surrender, you are ready for the door to open without losing yourself on the other side. Every closed door before this was a mirror reflecting your readiness back to you. And every delay was an act of divine love, not punishment. God does not withhold blessings. He withholds burdens disguised as blessings until your spirit can discern the difference. There's a rhythm in the spirit world, like the tides of the ocean. There are seasons of movement and seasons of stillness. The stillness was your winter, a time when the surface looked barren, but the roots were growing deep. What you called waiting was actually weaving. Heaven was weaving together details, aligning moments, and preparing hearts that would one day meet yours. Now the meaning behind this open door is this: God is restoring divine alignment. You're entering a time where what once felt fragmented will start making sense. The scattered pieces of your journey will fit together like a mosaic. The pain, the loss, the confusion, they were not random. They were divine threads leading you toward clarity and calling. This new season carries a sacred theme: completion. The number of waiting has ended, and the number of fulfillment has begun. Spiritually, this means your inner world now matches the vision God spoke over your life. You've become what you once prayed to receive. Think of it this way: the door symbolizes transition, but also transformation. It separates where you were from where you're destined to go. Every time you cross a threshold, your faith must go first. That's why God taught you patience. Because faith doesn't just open doors, it holds them open when fear tries to close them again. The waiting refined your frequency. You no longer resonate with the same energies, habits, or distractions. That's why certain people drifted away and certain opportunities fell apart. They weren't aligned with your next dimension. The pruning was preparation. The silence was sacred surgery. Spiritually, the open door is not just an opportunity, it's a mirror of your evolution. The door opens when your vibration matches its frequency. When you grew into peace, the path cleared. When you chose faith over fear, the lock turned. That's the hidden depth behind this prophetic moment. Heaven responds to your internal readiness. Now the phrase "God opens new doors" carries a layered truth. It means you've completed a divine cycle. You've outgrown the space that once contained you. And the next chapter requires the version of you that waiting produced. So as you prepare to step forward, understand this. What's coming isn't a repeat of what was lost. It's resurrection in a new form. The blessings won't look familiar because they're not recycled. They're reborn. The storms you endured taught you how to recognize real peace. The betrayals you faced taught you the difference between connection and attachment. The loneliness taught you how to hear God without the noise of the crowd. Those were spiritual surgeries that removed what could not cross into the new. The deeper meaning of this moment is that you've passed the test of time. You've proven that your faith wasn't conditional, and heaven always rewards endurance. The open doors before you are not random openings, they are divine acknowledgments. God is saying, you stayed, you believed, you waited. Now walk through. And as you step through, you will notice it feels lighter, freer, truer. That's because you're no longer striving for what you already embody. You've become the alignment you were praying for. The external now reflects the internal. This is the essence of spiritual maturity, when the promise no longer defines your faith, but your faith defines the promise. You are crossing into manifestation, not just as a receiver, but as a co-creator with heaven. Every word you speak will carry weight. Every step you take will carry authority. You'll no longer chase doors, you'll attract them. Because when your heart is aligned with divine purpose, heaven becomes magnetized to your obedience. You'll know this new door season has begun, not through dramatic announcements, but through divine patterns, quiet confirmations that echo deep within your spirit. God rarely reveals a new chapter with thunder. He confirms it with alignment. And when heaven begins to open doors, there are signs that follow, gentle, yet undeniable. The first sign is inner release. The tension that once wrapped around your heart begins to loosen. You'll notice peace arriving in places where anxiety used to live. It's as if something inside whispers, you don't have to fight anymore. That peace is not ordinary, it's prophetic. It means the war over that situation has already been won in the unseen. Heaven has signed off on your victory, and your spirit feels the approval before your eyes see the outcome. The second sign is divine repetition. You'll start hearing the same phrases, scriptures, or ideas appearing repeatedly through songs, sermons, conversations, even random encounters. It's not coincidence, it's confirmation. God speaks in echoes when He wants you to pay attention. The same message will surround you until you finally realize this isn't random. God is speaking to me. The third sign is unexpected acceleration. Doors that were once locked begin to open without effort. Delays suddenly dissolve. People who once overlooked you begin to notice you. Opportunities appear with little explanation. That's how divine momentum feels. What once required striving now flows naturally. Heaven has moved your name to the top of the list. The fourth sign is holy discomfort. You'll feel restless in places that no longer fit. It's not frustration. It's divine dislocation. God stirs discomfort when it's time to move. You may find yourself unable to settle for old routines or conversations. That agitation is grace in disguise. Heaven pushing you toward new dimensions. The fifth sign is confirmation through others. Someone may speak words to you that mirror what you've secretly prayed. A friend, a stranger, even a child might unknowingly confirm your next step. Pay attention. God often hides His voice in human vessels to remind you He's closer than you think. And finally, the sixth sign, renewed clarity. Confusion begins to lift. Ideas return. Creativity flows again. You'll wake up with energy you haven't felt in months. The fog that once clouded your vision clears, and your spirit feels lighter. This isn't random revival. It's the mark of a door opening in the spirit. Each of these signs carries the same message heaven has shifted in your favor. You won't need to chase evidence. It will chase you. And when you start seeing these patterns, don't doubt them. Don't rationalize them away. Receive them as love letters from heaven, personal notes that say, I've remembered you. You've waited long enough. Now the signs are aligning. The movement has begun. The keys have turned. And your next chapter is already unfolding, even as you listen to these words. Before every breakthrough, there is a battlefield you can't always see. When heaven opens a door, darkness takes notice. The same light that guides you forward also exposes resistance around you, not to stop you, but to strengthen what God has already placed within. Don't be surprised if the moment you sense momentum pressure tries to return. Old fears may whisper again. Doubt may creep in, asking, what if nothing changes? That voice is not truth, it's residue. It's the echo of your former season, trying to convince you that waiting is safer than walking. But faith is movement, and movement always stirs opposition. The first hidden challenge is spiritual fatigue. After years of waiting, even joy can feel heavy. You've learned endurance, but stepping into new territory requires renewed energy. Don't interpret exhaustion as failure. See it as the last stretch before manifestation. Heaven replenishes those who keep walking when they could have sat down. The second challenge is distraction disguised as opportunity. Not every open door is divine. Some are decoys, glittering choices that pull your focus from what truly matters. In this season, discernment will protect you more than enthusiasm. Ask God, is this mine, before you rush forward? If peace doesn't follow pause, the right door won't require you to shrink your spirit or compromise your integrity. The third challenge is misunderstanding. As favor increases, not everyone will celebrate. Some will question how you moved forward so suddenly. Others will misread your quiet focus as pride. Remember, you are called, not explained. Keep your eyes on the one who opened the door, not on those who don't understand why it opened for you. The fourth challenge is loneliness in transition. New doors often require you to walk through alone. People attached to your old season may not fit the dimensions of your new one. It's not rejection, it's redirection. God isolates before He elevates, because intimacy with Him must remain the anchor when everything else changes. And finally, the fifth hidden challenge, the test of consistency. Miracles may open doors, but character keeps them open. The same discipline that carried you through waiting must now carry you through blessing. Don't relax into comfort. Rise into responsibility. The open door is not the finish line, it's the beginning of divine stewardship. If you encounter these challenges, don't lose heart. They are signs you're standing in sacred territory. The resistance is proof of relevance. Every pushback means you've entered the enemy's radar, but also God's spotlight. And the one who opened the door will not abandon you midway. Stand firm. When pressure increases, worship deeper. When confusion rises, choose silence until peace returns. When fear speaks, remind yourself, this door was God's idea, not mine. Now that the atmosphere has shifted and heaven has declared access, granted, the Spirit releases divine instructions to guide your next steps. This is not the time to move impulsively. It is the time to move intentionally with reverence, precision, and faith. The first instruction is to move when prompted, not when comfortable. God's timing rarely aligns with convenience. When He says go, you may still feel underprepared. But obedience opens what logic cannot. You will not always feel ready, yet readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. Remember, the Israelites left Egypt still trembling. Peter stepped out of the boat while the storm still raged. Miracles are rarely preceded by calm. They are birthed in courage. The second instruction is to guard your focus. New doors demand new discipline. In the season ahead, silence will become your strongest weapon. Not every revelation deserves to be announced. Some breakthroughs are meant to mature in secret before being shared. Speak only what the Spirit releases. The enemy can't sabotage what he doesn't know. Protect the vision like a seed, nurture it in prayer until it sprouts on its own. The third instruction is to stay anchored in gratitude. Gratitude sustains what miracles begin. When God starts opening doors, it's easy to rush ahead without reflection. But gratitude slows your spirit long enough to absorb the beauty of fulfillment. Thank Him not only for the promise, but for the process that prepared you. Gratitude is the fragrance that draws continued favor. The fourth instruction is to walk in humility. Promotion without humility becomes corrosion. God lifts the meek because they know the weight of grace. Remember this, open door is not a reward for perfection. It's a response to perseverance. Let your elevation point others to God, not to you. The crown you carry is borrowed light. The fifth instruction is to stay aligned with purity. When new opportunities appear, temptation often follows shortcuts, compromises alliances that glitter but corrupt. Keep your motives clean. Choose integrity over influence, character over convenience. The oil of favor flows only where holiness is honored. The sixth instruction is to cultivate stillness. Open doors can bring motion meetings movement, but do not lose your center in the rush. Make space each day for silence. Hear God's heartbeat before you speak, decide, or post. Stillness is where direction becomes clear again. The louder the blessings, the quieter your spirit must become. The seventh instruction is to sow into the season. Every new dimension requires seed, not just financially, but spiritually and emotionally. Sow kindness, sow excellence, sow consistency. What you invest now will determine how long the door stays open. You are not entering merely to receive, but to plant what will sustain others after you. And the final instruction is to trust the unfolding. God rarely reveals the whole map, only the next step. Stop waiting to understand before you obey. Faith isn't clarity, it's confidence in divine authorship. When He says, "Walk, take one step, and the path will appear beneath your feet," in this season, obedience will open more than effort ever could. Heaven's pattern is simple revelation, instruction, obedience, manifestation. Those who hear and act will see acceleration that others call impossible. So write this truth upon your heart. Delayed obedience is disobedience. When God whispers, move. When He pauses, rest. When He opens, step through. And when He closes, worship. Each response unlocks the next command. You are stepping into divine choreography, heaven, moving earth, responding. And the rhythm is perfect, even when your understanding is not. Do not fear what lies ahead. When God opens a door, He also stations angels around it. The same hand that turns the key assigns protection to your path. You are not walking into this new season unguarded. Heaven has already built a wall of light around you. Even now, invisible forces are moving on your behalf. You may not see them, but you'll feel the evidence: peace in chaos, strength in weakness, clarity in confusion. That is not coincidence. That is covenant. God never sends His children into new territory without divine security. You've been through battles that taught you how to recognize His covering. Remember those nights when you should have fallen apart, but didn't. That was His hand. Remember the moments when everything broke except your faith. That was His grace. The same God who preserved you in the storm will now shield you in success, because favor attracts attention. And sometimes, open doors draw both angels and adversaries. But here's your assurance: the enemy can see the door, but he cannot enter it. He has no key to what heaven has sealed. His whispers may linger outside, but his reach stops at the threshold of your obedience. You are stepping into a realm surrounded by divine surveillance. Every plot, every scheme, every hidden snare is being exposed before it touches you. Even your mistakes will turn into miracles because grace is guarding the process. God says, "I will be a fire around you and the glory within you." That means no weapon formed against your progress will prevail, not spiritually, not emotionally, not physically. In this season, peace will become your armor. The storms that used to shake you will now strengthen you. Fear will lose its vocabulary around you because your spirit recognizes divine safety. Whenever doubt tries to return, remember this: you did not open this door. God did. And what God opens, He sustains. You are walking through an assignment backed by the authority of heaven. Rest in that. You don't have to fight for what's already protected. You don't have to defend what's already defended. Simply walk with awareness, not paranoia, but discernment. When your peace feels disturbed, step back into stillness and listen. The shepherd's voice will always lead you away from danger before you even know it's there. You are covered. Your family is covered. Your purpose is covered. This new chapter will not collapse under pressure because the foundation was built in prayer. Let your heart settle into that truth. The same light that led you out of waiting is now surrounding you in motion. You are safe in the unfolding. Everything you've walked through, the silence, the struggle, the unseen pruning, has brought you to this moment of divine transformation. You are not the same soul who began this journey. The waiting changed you. The wilderness matured you. And now fulfillment isn't just what happens to you, it's what's been formed within you. This transformation is not loud or boastful. It is radiant and deep. It shows in the way you speak peace where you once spoke pain. It reveals itself in your calm confidence, your quiet strength, your unwavering faith. You've become living evidence that time spent in God's hands never returns void. Doors are opening, yes, but the greater miracle is who you've become as they open. God didn't just prepare blessings for you. He prepared you for the blessings. You are walking into rooms built for the version of you that the waiting shaped. Every disappointment carved humility. Every delay planted wisdom. Every heartbreak stretched your compassion. You've been divinely sculpted for the assignment that now awaits. Watch how everything begins to align, resources appearing right when needed, connections forming. Effortlessly, opportunities recognizing your name without you striving. That's not luck. That's divine synchronization. Heaven is syncing your readiness with your reward. As you step forward, you'll feel a sacred ease. Not because life becomes perfect, but because you finally understand its rhythm. You no longer chase outcomes, you trust processes. You no longer question pauses, you recognize preparation. You no longer doubt closed doors, you thank God for redirection. This is the fulfillment, clarity, peace, and power flowing as one. The transformation will not only bless you, it will ripple outward. Your testimony will unlock faith in others still waiting. They will see your glow and ask, "How did you endure?" And you'll answer, "By grace, by surrender, by trust." That will be your ministry, living proof that patience is not wasted time, but planted purpose. This fulfillment carries restoration. Everything you thought was lost returns in multiplied form: joy, opportunity, confidence, even time. God redeems what seemed wasted. The relationships meant for your destiny will find you again purified and aligned. The finances tied to your calling will flow freely. The doors once denied will now open because you've been refined. You'll look around and realize the struggle wasn't just about reaching a destination. It was about becoming the vessel God could trust with it. You now carry grace for nations, wisdom for generations, peace for storms. You embody what you once prayed for. Fulfillment is not a single event, it's a state of being. It's living every day with quiet assurance that God's timing is flawless. It's waking up knowing you're no longer waiting for something distant. You're walking in what you once only imagined. And as you continue to move forward, there will be moments when you pause, look back and realize how far grace has carried you. You'll see the patterns that once confused you now forming divine symmetry. Every unanswered prayer suddenly makes sense. Every delay reveals its purpose. This is your becoming. This is your bloom after the storm. The waiting was the seed. The obedience was the water. The endurance was the sunlight. And now this is the harvest. Walk gently into it, but walk boldly. You are stepping into prophecy fulfilled. Take a breath. Let your spirit absorb what has been spoken. Heaven's word has reached you, and this is the seal the waiting is truly over. You have crossed from expectation into manifestation, from silence into song, from delay into divine delivery. Now anchor this truth with these affirmations. Speak them aloud. Let them echo in your atmosphere until every doubt dissolves. 1. I am aligned with divine timing, and nothing can delay what God has ordained. 2. Every door meant for me is opening with ease, grace, and protection. I am no longer waiting. I am walking in fulfillment. What was withheld is now being released in multiplied form. Repeat these until they feel like breath itself. Affirmation is not wishful thinking. It's spiritual agreement. When your words align with heaven's decree, the supernatural accelerates in your favor. As you walk into this new season, pray with quiet confidence. Don't rush. Don't doubt. The same God who orchestrated the waiting will sustain the winning. You will notice peace replacing pressure, strength rising from stillness, and joy returning without reason. That is the fragrance of fulfillment, the unmistakable scent of divine completion. Let this blessing rest upon you. May every step you take be guided by divine wisdom. May doors swing open before you with supernatural ease. May your name be whispered in rooms of opportunity you have never entered. May favor chase you down and overtake you. May your hands remain steady, your heart remain pure, and your purpose remain clear. And may every delay you endured transform into double-portion blessing, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. You are covered. You are chosen. You are ready. The waiting has ended, not because time decided, but because heaven declared. Walk forward now with faith as your compass and gratitude as your song. Leave behind the shadows of hesitation. Step into the brilliance of becoming. When you move with assurance, not as someone hoping for permission, but as one carrying divine assignment. Heaven has signed your release. The new doors are not just open, they are yours. Go in peace, favored one. The prophecy has been sealed. The story has turned. The waiting is over, and the glory begins now.